is going to say the invocation tonight.
Let us bow our heads. Our Father God, which is in heaven, we come before you this evening with bowed heads and humble hearts. We come just thanking you for this day. We just thank you for waking us all up this morning to see another beautiful day that we've never seen before. We come just thanking you for this wonderful city. We just thank you for each and every individual that has come out to be in support of the positive things going on in our city. We just thank you for the mayor and the board of aldermen, and we just pray that you would just continue to bless each of us, continue to bless this city. We just ask for your guidance and wisdom as we go about making decisions that will be in the best interest of all the citizens of this city. We ask that you would just continue to be with us and just bless us as we go back to our homes, and we just pray that everything that's going to be said and done tonight would be pleasing in your sight. These are other blessings we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Hillsman. Say the pledge. Okay, we'll do roll call, please. We have a quorum present. For the approval of the agenda, I'd like to remove underneath 9, item C. Is there any other comments about the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to have just a few minutes in new business, and I've got a speaker that wants to speak just about 4 or 5 minutes, if that's all right.
Yes, sir. Any other comments?
You said you're removing item C
Under 9, yes, sir.
under 9. Are you from resolutions or ordinances?
Resolutions. Sorry about that. We have a motion. If we get a second?
Be clear, my motion includes the removal of this and March.
Yes. Both things. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, please. Motion passes. Next item, number 5, is the minutes from the February 4th BOMA meeting. Entertain a motion. We have a motion and a second. Any discussions on the minutes? Hearing none, let's vote, please.
Good.
Motion carries. Number 6, comments from citizens. Seeing none. Number 7, comments from the mayor. I want to welcome everybody tonight to the March meeting. We got a pretty short agenda, so hopefully we can get everybody home before it rains too much. Number 8, committees, safety.
Good evening. Just want to give you a quick update. Last month, we had 93 calls. We had 6 fires, 3 of which were grass fires, a vehicle fire, a mutual aid camper fire. We also responded to a hazmat incident with North Coffee out here on the interstate, which was very successful for everybody, put that fire out. And Mr. Novea and Frame are currently in the Tennessee Fire Academy.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Please.
Yes, good evening. So we had our first 2025 Bonnaroo introductory meeting today, where we were able to learn new faces and positions and resources and things of that sort. So that was a very good success, very informative as well. We also celebrated our SRO Appreciation Day by posting accolades on social media for our 3 SROs, which is Charlie Taylor, Jason Fowler, and Cody Lindley. They do an exceptional job each day keeping our kids and staff safe in our school systems. Also, Cody Lindley was recently promoted to investigator in the department, and we're glad to have him there. He brings a little bit of history behind him in that area, and I think he'll do a fantastic job for us. And we're also in the process of hiring a replacement for him in the SRO school over at Westwood Middle School. Our next scheduled safety meeting is March 10th at 5 p.m. here in the boardroom.
Did Bonnaroo say how ticket sales were going?
Well, they alluded to, they thought they would have a good year, I'll say that, so.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you. Finance?
Good evening. Last Finance Committee met on February 25th. A couple of key items that were reviewed at that meeting were the purchase of 2 Explorers from EMA for the police department, and also the firearms replacement for the police department were both discussed and approved for further consideration by the board. Discussion on a lease contract to lease the building right here on the corner at, Woodland and Highway 41 for the codes department was discussed, and that was sent forward for further consideration. The actual drawing up of the contract currently sits with our city attorney. Departmental updates, we've already begun the budget meetings for fiscal year 2026. We're going department at a time. I'm sitting down with them one-on-one. Those have started. The letters went out to the nonprofits. We've already received a number of requests from the nonprofit agencies around town. And last but not least, we've already begun audit preparation for fiscal year 2025.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Street?
Good evening. Our next street committee meeting will be March the 13th at 4:30 here at the boardroom. We will have a agenda that we really need to meet. Still working on the sidewalks at Coffee and Hills Chapel. We're also working on the easements for Oakdale and Madison Street. And we've been working on some maintenance stuff here at City Hall. And we got our gov deal stuff sold.
And also, you put up some posts.
Oh, yeah, the backstops out at, for ball.
Yep. That's over on the Batesville property. We're making 4 practice fields for the youth. Thank you.
That's all, thanks.
Recreation?
Good evening. We held a pre-bid meeting February the 26th for renovations to the Recreation Center. The bid opening is scheduled for March the 11th at 2 p.m. We now have all our cardio equipment installed and it's in working order. Train has notified us that our chiller is on schedule to be shipped on September the 15th. We have some upcoming tournaments. We have a AAU basketball tournament scheduled for this weekend, and another one scheduled for March 14th through the 16th. The Bobby Lane softball tournament is scheduled to be held on March 15th at the Dave King Park. And then Tim Johnson is hosting a softball tournament at Dave King Park on March 29th. We held our Amazing Family Night on February the 21st with 174 participants. We're currently conducting a lifeguard course that'll end on March 15th with 9 participants in the class. And we're hosting a volleyball league with four teams. And then we're offering a spring break day camp from March 24th through the 28th for grades K through 5. Our next rec commission meeting will be March the 12th at 4:30 here in the boardroom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tourism?
We met and talked about our wants and goals for next year. So we're kind of beginning to get ready to put a budget together. That's about it.
Thank you. Water sewer? Sorry about that, Jeff.
Good evening. For the month of February, we fixed 2 water main breaks, 8 water leaks on service lines, 1 hydrant repair, replaced 2 air relief valves on Ragsdale Road, also made 4 new water taps and installed 1 water valve. The state conducted the sanitary survey on February the 13th. The city of Manchester scored a 99 percentile, which is really good. The wastewater collection system, we're gathering data on our pumping stations. 3 pumping stations are currently at or over capacity, Northridge, Fredonia, and Highway 55. We will be gathering data on the 7-Eleven pumping station to determine future growth capacity. A bid opening was held Monday, March the 3rd, for the ARC grant for basin rehabilitation, which will be upsizing the sewer main from Willis Farms to Skinner Flat Road. The federal ARP grant, Dukes has now completed 1,014 available manhole inspections. 73 we need to uncover so they can inspect those. They've now moved on to televising. Currently, they have televised 65,300 feet, and 10,700 feet needs to be cleaned before it's able to be televised. Smoke testing will start this spring, coinciding with televising and cleaning. Public notification will be by means of door tags being placed between 2 and 7 days before they smoke test. It will contain both English and Spanish directions and phone number to call if they have any questions. We'll also be making posts online to allow the citizens so aware you might have smoke in your house at some point if you have a sewer leak. The billing office moved all the billing cycle has been moved to 1 cycle. Payments are due on the 15th of each month, and cutoffs followed at the 1st of the following month. And last, we have filled 3 positions. Cody Hohen is a light equipment operator, Preston Hayter, heavy equipment operator, and Dana Douglas, the water and wastewater operations manager. And the Water and Sewer Commission meeting will be held Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning and zoning?
The March Planning Commission meeting will be held Monday, March 17th at 5:30 here in the boardroom. That agenda will be posted by the end of the week. That's all I really have to report.
Thank you. Information systems?
Yeah, we have the IT support technician that's been hired and starts tomorrow. And the next meeting is Monday, March 10th at 4:30.
Thank you. Historic zoning?
The Historic Zoning Commission will meet this Thursday, March 6th at 5 o'clock here in the boardroom. That agenda has been posted. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolutions and ordinances?
A resolution to authorize the expenditure of up to $21,555 for an employee wellness and assistance program sponsored by Aldermen Cross.
We could get a motion and a second. We can go into discussion. Okay, we have a motion and a second. The discussion.
I just would like to see us do this for everybody instead of just, I mean, I want to see us do it for first responders. But there's $30,000 for them, what, $60,000 to do it for every employee in the city, I believe. And there was a reason why we didn't do that. I don't know.
So we put the smaller number on here for tonight, and if you guys want to do the larger number, we have to put it out for bid, and it'll come back around in April.
So we can still do that.
We can still do it, and if you remember correctly, when we were in finance, we discussed presenting it to the board to find out which way everybody wanted to go. So we just prepared the resolution that we could for tonight, and if the board does want to go with all of the employees having access to that service, then we'll do that, and we'll put it out for bid, and then we'll bring it back up in April.
So would we want to make a motion tonight to do that for everybody?
Yeah.
We want to do that now?
Yeah, yeah.
Then I'd make that motion.
So Vice Mayor Messick makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Alderman Crosland seconds, and the motion is to provide the service to all employees in the city. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Let's vote, please. Motion passes. So what we will do is we'll put that in the paper. We'll have you guys fill out a bid, and we'll bring it back to the board in April. Okay? B?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of 45 Glock pistols at the total price of $47,478.35 for use of the police department of the city of Manchester, sponsored by Alderman French.
So we could get a motion and a second.
We still have to, the original motion for A.
You want to vote to deny it? Well, I mean, we passed the other motion out. So
As amended.
As amended.
Is amended.
So we don't go backwards.
Let's go.
You ready to vote on this? So this is B, resolution to change out the 45 Glock pistols to a 9mm for the whole police department. It was passed in budget and finance and recommended to the board. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, let's vote, please. Motion passes. Item C was removed. D, please.
Resolution D, a resolution to authorize an award of Tourism and Development Commission grant fund dollars to the 8th Annual Good Friends Music Fest in the amount of $3,000, sponsored by Vice Mayor Messick.
We could get a motion and a second. We can move to discussion. Hang on just one second. We're having a little technical difficulty. All right. Do we hear you see a motion and a second? Who made the motion? Just a verbal motion and a
I
second?
made a motion on here, but I don't know.
Who seconded it?
Donnie seconded, so Alderman French and Alderman Parsley. So with motion and a second discussion, the reason that we bring this to the board through tourism can award funds to nonprofits. This is a for-profit organization, so this is part of what we have to do as a pass-through item. But it was passed in tourism, so if you're ready, has everybody voted? Alderman 3. Uh-oh. Went dark. Motion passed 4-1 with Alderman 3 voting nay. There we go. Back up.
Ordinance number A, a second reading of an ordinance to abandon the city of Manchester's interest, if any, in an undeveloped right-of-way which was unnamed running between lots 75 and 76 of the Lexington subdivision from the end of Lexington Circle and Skinner Flat Road as depicted on the plat of the Lexington subdivision. Sponsored by Vice Mayor Messick. This is a public hearing.
Do we have anybody in the public that wants to make any comments? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion. We have a motion. Is there a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, please. Motion passed, 5-0.
Ordinance B, first reading of an ordinance to amend and delete Manchester Municipal Code 5-101 relative to official depository, sponsored by Alderman Crosland.
Entertain a motion. Second. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
What's an official depository? Is there an unofficial or?
For some years, First National Bank was named as the official depository or depository for city funds, and since they're no longer viable, and you're probably familiar with what we've done in the last few months in regards to deposits. So there was no need for it.
It's just cleaning up some paperwork. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Removing First National Bank as the official, is it substituting anybody?
No, sir.
No more discussion. Let's vote, please. Passes 5-0.
Ordinance C, first reading of an ordinance to amend Manchester Municipal Code 5703 relative to purchasing authority, sponsored by Alderman Crosland.
Entertain a motion. And a second. A motion and a second discussion. The biggest change in this here is letting the department directors, it changes from $1,499 to $4,999 that they can sign off on. Any more discussion?
It changes it in that they can do that without board approval?
Yes, sir. Within their budget. It has to be a budget within their budget items.
The next level would be mayor approved, and the next level is committee approved, and then board approved.
Okay, this increases it from 1,400 to 4,999
Yes.
Yes.
that the department heads could do.
Yes, sir.
How long has it been since that's been changed?
Good question, quite some time. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think if I had the code book, it would tell you when it was. Last time.
The biggest thing that we're running into is water and sewer and public works and even fire and police. With inflation and everything, I mean, it just takes so much more for these guys to get approval to move forward in ordering pumps and different things. So finance, I believe it was passed unanimous in there to give them that authority. More discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, please. Motion carries 5-0. Number 9, old business. Number 10, new business. Under new business, the IT committee has, so we're in the process of redoing the website for the city. We discussed a logo change. And part of that was Dale, I'm not sure, there he is. Dale kind of took the lead and helped us here, and he worked with Westwood Middle School. Is that right, Dale? And they came up with 4 or 5 or 6 different logos. So this is one of them. Part of the conversation, I believe, and it was Alderman French, maybe you can elaborate. You know, we would have to, once we kind of pick an idea, we would want to get it copyrighted and some other things. Is that, Alderman French, can you help me?
Yeah, well, in the committee, I just recommended that whatever we end up going with, that we have a brand kit put together for it. It's kind of a typical thing. Make sure you have the rights to the fonts, things like that, before you post them. But yeah, that, I think that can all be handled at the committee level once there's a lot of times you'll have a branding kit developed with your logo, but in this case, since we're kind of doing this internally, you know, we'd ship the logo out somewhere, develop a branding kit for it. And that also would come with some alternative, like, you know, just an all-white logo, all-black logo, transparent, all that kind of thing.
So I think probably the biggest part of the conversation is does everybody happy with the logo we have? And if not, do you want us to move forward? This isn't a voting item tonight, but that's kind of trying to get the temperature of the board to see if we just want to move forward. Part of the redesign of the website, they want us to make sure that whatever logo, we have that first. So I'll open the floor up for discussion.
I'll say in committee, I believe we all supported this particular one that's printed out in the packet tonight.
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
What's the logo now? That on the,
No, it's, probably should put that in here. Does anybody have a logo on something that they have?
Right here.
Here we go. You give that to Alderman Threet. It's just kind of a little half line, and it says City of Manchester, I believe. That's it.
what happened to the Indian head and the pile of rocks that used to be on the police cars? I thought that was the logo. I'm sure somebody out there remembers that.
Pass it down. I believe that it was passed by the board a few years back.
This one was?
Yes.
Okay.
Does that sound right, Alderman French? You've been here long enough. I think you guys changed it 10 years ago, maybe?
It's been,
Yeah, I believe so. Alderman Threet.
I like the Indian head and the rocks myself. That was what it was, I think, in the early 2000s. I know there's got to be a picture of it somewhere.
We can find it. And what I'd like to do is if everybody's kind of agreement, we'll offer 2 or 3 new logos. We'll bring that one back as well, and then we'll vote on them. I mean, as long as everybody's kind of in agreement that they want to change the logo, we can move forward and bring something to the board at the next meeting. Okay, all right, thank you. So we'll do that. Tenny, let's put that on our agenda for IT, please. Now, the next item is Alderman Messick's.
I'm sure that most of y'all have heard a little bit about the proposed changes in rezoning and land use the county's offering. And that affects us. There's no way it could keep from affecting us. I just want everybody to understand on the board kind of what it's like, what's gonna happen. Nick Northcutt has kind of been spearheading this up, so I asked him to come and speak to us tonight. And once he gets done, if you have any questions, you can ask questions. If you think there's anything that we ought to do, then we'll, maybe we could write a letter or something, I don't know, but we'll discuss it. Yeah, Nick, if you'd talk to us, that'd be great.
Evening, everyone. Nicholas Northcutt Surveying. I see there's a couple of county commissioners in the crowd tonight, and I'm really glad they're here because I was going to be calling them tomorrow anyway. So, for those of you who are not familiar with what was passed at the last Planning Commission meeting, what they did pass is they want to do a 180-day moratorium on any major divisions in the county. They also passed some changes to the ordinance as far as like the subregs go, which would be a 5-acre minimum lot size. There are exceptions to that if it's family, and I'm not sure how you go about proving that. But if it's family, I think there's a variance pathway that you can go to not have to do 5 acres, like say if you're just wanting to carve off an acre for a family member. But if it's not family, it's a 5-acre minimum lot size. They're saying you can do minor divisions in the county, however, you will have to rezone first to an RS1. I was not aware before until all this kind of came to a head, and I've never seen any of these properties, but apparently there are properties that are zoned RS1 that are not in the UGB. So what they're saying is you would need to get your property rezoned to an RS1, and then after it's rezoned, you can then go through the subdivision process with the county. I see a major issue in this because nobody can give me a straight answer on, are they going to consider it spot zoning if you're not adjacent to other RS1 properties? Like if you're way out in the county, are they just going to be able to use that as an excuse to say, nope, we're not going to rezone your property because that would be spot zoning? Other counties do this, and it is more of kind of a formality. Like I know Franklin County, for example, they've got a zone A, and if you want to develop in Franklin County, you've got to get that zone to an R1. Without necessarily having to be adjacent to any other R1 property. So I still haven't been able to get a good answer on that, which is one reason why I think it's kind of dangerous to vote on this now, because not even the codes office can wrap their head around what the implications of all of these proposed changes are going to be. When I talked to them, they didn't even know how this is going to work. The next thing that they required would be to, in the RS1 zones, do a 1 acre lot size minimum in RS1. That did not pass, that was not passed on with a positive recommendation. But because it was brought up, it will still go to the full commission. So it is still possible that they would vote to do 1 acre minimum lot size, regardless of fire protection and regardless of whatever. They still could vote for there to be 1 acre minimums in RS1. The next things that they said was that, provided you can get the zoning, if you're going to do a major development where you're building a road, then you have to abut a 50-foot public right-of-way with a 20-foot wide paved surface. Well, if you look at the county right-of-way charts, there's not a whole lot of 50-foot right-of-ways. There's a whole lot more 40-foots, and there's a whole lot more 30-foots. So that right there eliminates so many properties from the potential of development simply because their road doesn't have the correct right-of-way width. I don't know if they're going to allow, the developer to dedicate land to make it the proper width, but, them having the 20-foot wide road requirement would imply that, your property, you know, if you've got 1,000 feet of road frontage, well, you're gonna have to bring 1,000 feet of county road up to that 20-foot standard regardless of what it was. Mr. Bartlett is also against that because he said, well, then you're gonna have one type of pavement and one road width, and then you're gonna get to this development and it's gonna widen out to a different kind of pavement and a different width, and then it's gonna narrow back down, and it's a safety issue. The next thing that they said is for fire protection, you have to have a 6-inch line in front of your property with fire flow. So as y'all are probably well aware, West Warren and Hillsville, they don't hardly run any 6-inch lines, you know? Even some of the 6-inch lines that they have don't have that, they don't meet that fire flow requirement. So basically, what's happening is they're saying you're going to be able to do a major division in the county provided that you can meet these requirements that are essentially impossible to meet. They're doing it, you know, the reason that they're saying that this is happening is to protect farmers and protect farmland. The real reason is to just stop growth. That's what it's about, is to stop growth. Because what they're talking about here is very bad for farmers. Nobody's telling a farmer they can't farm. And where this comes to a head is when the farmer is 85 or 90 years old and he passes away and his 80-year-old wife is left with the farm. Well, that's the point where their lifetime of hard work and investment in what is most likely their most valuable asset, their property, that's where it's going to hurt them. You know, these proposals that they're talking about devalue people's property because it robs them of their potential of dividing. Nobody's forcing anybody to divide, but just the potential of being able to divide makes your property worth so much more. If you can't divide property and you can't live out in the county, then who's going to want to move here to be at the mega site? You know, who's going to want to do business here if you can't build anywhere other than Manchester? And with the sewer issues here, I mean, like, we're kind of stuck until, you know, that gets resolved. So basically, you know, the common sentiment that I hear is people want less government. But what they're doing is they're adding more government and more red tape and more restrictions to people's land and people's land value and people's rights to their land. Or that's the way I see it anyway. So I'm, of course, going to be speaking with commissioners, asking them to vote no on this. Or if they don't vote no on it, at least vote to defer it until, I mean, they advertised this thing 10 days before the meeting. And they didn't put specifics as to what amendments they were going to be making on the ordinance. So anybody who is not for this has had no time to prepare and get stuff together for this. I'm also of the opinion, you know, that the commissioners are supposed to represent all of the citizens in Coffee County. And right now, there is a small group that is being represented, and they're ignoring tax revenue, they're ignoring jobs, they're ignoring, you know, everything that's associated with growth and building, which would eventually trickle down to the rest of the local economy in grocery stores and gas stations and building supplies. You know, this doesn't just affect the developer, this affects the framer, the plumber, the electrician, the surveyor, the engineer, the gravel guy. It affects everybody that's involved in that. And like I said, adding additional houses and getting some good, healthy growth in the county, you know, will eventually result in getting better amenities in Manchester. The same people hollering that they don't want growth are also saying they want a good grocery store, or they might want a movie theater, or they want these other amenities that it takes population to get. And nobody wants, you know, another common refrain that I hear is nobody wants, you know, another Rutherford County. And I'm right there with them. I can't stand driving in Murfreesboro, but, you know, we got to get to Tullahoma before we can even get to Murfreesboro, you know. So anyway, I'm available to answer any questions that y'all may have on this, any concerns, but what I would implore you to do is reach out to the commissioners that you know, and, and you may be of the opinion that you don't want the growth either. And if that's the case, then that's great. But whatever your opinion may be, I would implore you to reach out to your commissioners and let them know before this meeting on the 11th.
Y'all have any questions? Anybody have any questions for Nick? He's got all the answers. He knows what's going on. He does.
Nick, first of all, it's good to see you. I hadn't seen you in a long time.
No kidding, man. I didn't recognize you at first.
Well, you're a lot older, too.
Yep.
But I appreciate your passion. I appreciate your passion on the subject quite a bit. I have concerns as a county citizen and county taxpayer myself, mostly centering around the rights of the landholder, the landowner. So I appreciate you standing up and speaking in front of us. And again, appreciate your passion.
Thank you.
What do you propose that we do about this, city dwellers?
There again, you are in Coffee County, so reach out to your commissioners, tell them to vote no. Or tell them that there's not been enough time to weigh the impacts of this.
Years past, if we wanted our feelings heard, we would write a letter as a board. Maybe like a sense of the board. Here's what we think. We're not trying to tell you what to do, but here's what we think. And we could still do that, I think, right, Craig? If we wanted to?
It would be too late for this evening to do a resolution.
It would, yeah.
A letter would be,
Yeah.
that's your problem.
Yeah. But I mean, that's up to everybody here. I'm just, I wouldn't mind doing that, but I don't know how everybody else feels about it.
I think that would be a very good thing to present at the meeting, if y'all were so inclined.
Mark, I will agree with you on that. Several of our commissioners have sat down here tonight. I think that they're over this.
Well, and I think another consideration too is I think some of the conversation around this in the county, and I'm, just from what I've observed, is the recognition that it will drive more growth to the municipalities. And, I think that's debatable, obviously, but one of the thing, if that is the case, which study would probably show that it is, we have a UGB that was developed around a certain set of rules. And if we're changing those rules and any action from the county commission is in fact an accelerator to growth in the municipalities, then it, without question, should at the very minimum open up a conversation to have the UGB reconsidered, which I think needs to be done anyway. It's, if anybody's ever looked at the UGB, it's kind of laughable. But if we do a letter, I would want to request the county commission have that conversation. If you're going to do something this impactful, I just feel like the whole entire issue needs to be vetted from all sides, including both municipalities, because it's going to leave us with, there's going to be ramifications that affect us that we don't get to have a say in running.
What is the outlook of the Tullahoma city government? Generally, it's whatever we can do to screw Manchester. And use the county commission to screw Manchester.
I don't really have a good answer for that, other than that, I think they feel like maybe it's a done deal already.
But to be fair, that's your perception of what Tullahoma
Yeah, it's through the grapevine. It's
So,
through- Yeah, it's,
I want to be fair there.
yeah, that's nothing.
So what I think we'll do, if everybody's okay, Craig will draft us a letter. Anybody who would like to sign the letter, please come by the mayor's office on Friday after lunch, sign the letter, and we will get it distributed to the county commission.
Perfect. Thank you for your time. And, my phone number at the office is 728-9500. I'm over on Highway 53 next to Los Three Amigos. If any of y'all have any questions or needed to know anything further on this, you can contact me. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, items from the board. Alderman Crosland?
No, sir.
Alderman Three? Alderman French?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the, under resolutions tonight, the first item A, the Employee Wellness and Assistance Program. It's not a topic easily talked about, but, every community across the country deals with the impact of suicide. And I'm really proud that the police department has developed 988 stickers for the police cars. I think that's, it just takes, if it saves one person or has a conversation that materializes out of that, it's a really big deal. And I think that we should support mental health, mental wellness as a society better. I think we're getting better about it. But there's a lot going on in the world today, and these resources are impeccable. And I go back on this, when we first brought these resources to the table, there was some conversation about what insurance offers, and, I think we've made a good step forward for the city, and we've put wellness in the hands of people who care about wellness, and not necessarily how many claims they can deny to make a profit. So I think that's a big deal for a city, and I want to commend the police department for developing that sticker program. And I hope that the media will pick up on that and run with that, because that's something that needs all the attention that it can get. Because a story about that will be, there's somebody that's reading that, that's going to read that, that's having a hard time. And anytime we get a chance to share that, I think it makes our community better. So I want to thank them for that.
Vice Mayor Messick? Alderman Parsley? So in closing tonight, of course, to kind of talk about what Alderman French said, I mean, those guys had a contract with us 2 years ago. We didn't probably roll it out very good for the city. They kept the contract going. They give us a year for free, so thank you for that. And I also would like to thank the media tonight for being here. I mean, some of your stories are really good. I appreciate everything you do for the city. Is there anybody with a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
So seconded.
All in favor? Let's go.
Yes, I'm the last house on the right. Yeah, I can see you in pictures.